Hello everyone, it's Robin here and welcome. I'm happy to see you all today. So today we're going to be updating my reading journal with the books that I read in September. I'm really excited to get this going. I'm also excited to go check out my friend Tracie's video over at Midwest Craft Chat because we've been doing this collaboration all year long and I want to see what she's been up to. I've been enjoying watching her videos because I'm getting some book recommendation ideas as well as some reading journal ideas. So I like to always see what she's doing. I'll put a link down below for you so you can check it out. But in the meantime, we're gonna flip the camera down and see what I've been reading. So here's my reading journal, and this is the monthly section, and these are the stickers that I'll be using. I'll be using this September kit from my Etsy shop, and we'll be using that to decorate the monthly. And I have some audiobook icons, ebook icons, and book icons, and whatnot. So we'll be using all of these stickers in today's video. We're gonna do this monthly section last. I have a tracker section, which we'll do, and then we also have a review section, and we're going to start with that because this way I can talk a little bit about the books that I read. I read 3 books in September, and I have the book covers right here. I read The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. I read The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell, and then I read The Experimental Magic by Iris Beaglehole, and this is part of the Myrtlewood Mysteries. This is book 2, so I read book 1 last month, so I continued on with that, so that's really fun. These are book covers that I print. I use sticker paper. You can use anything else. I just have sticker paper here, so it makes it easy for me. And I print them in 3 sizes. This is the 2.5 inch size height right here because I like them all to be consistent. Then we have 2 inches tall, and then I make a wee bitty one at 1.5 inches tall, and you'll see me use these throughout this. I find the book covers either through Goodreads, a Google search, or oftentimes I will pull them off of Amazon, and that's how I do that. So let's go with the first one. We're gonna do The Measure first. That's the first book that I read, so I'm just gonna peel this backer off. And The Measure was an interesting book. It was definitely an interesting book. Let me pull this off real quick. It's science fiction, which I am not a huge science fiction fan, but I would consider this more science fiction for sure. But I did find this book rather interesting. Let me just lay this book cover right here. So I used the largest book cover for this. This book follows a lot of different people. So we have Nina and Maura, we have Ben and Amy, and then there's a whole bunch of other people that we follow. In the world, one day, everyone receives a box outside their door, and inside the box is a length of string, a measure of string. And what they come to find out is the size of the string is equal to the length of their life. So what would happen if everyone in the world knows exactly when they were going to die or how long they were going to live? So I actually read this. I have it as an audiobook, so I listened to this book. So I'm going to put this right down here, little headphone deal. And the book was very interesting. Everyone in the world gets a measure of string, which equals their length of life. And the book is told in a point of view form by each person. Each chapter is from a person's point of view and explores a lot of social issues as well as personal issues. And there's discrimination, and the personal issues has to do with, you know, your happiness. And would you want to know when your life is going to end? Or would you want to know if your loved one's life was going to end? So we have here Nina and Maura, who are a couple. Nina has a very long string and her loved one has very short string. So what happens in that relationship, and you feel for your loved one who has a short string, you don't want to really outlive them that long. But if you have a short string, I mean, what does that mean too? And then Ben and Amy, Ben has a very short string, and Amy decided not to view her string. She did not open the box. So we have a lot of different configurations with people. Ben has a very short string, but he's very hesitant. He doesn't want to tell his parents because he doesn't want to hurt them. And all of this. The social things that start happening is the world goes kind of crazy. It's a really, if you ever saw Lord of the Flies or read Lord of the Flies years and years and years and years ago, and you have all these kids thrown on an island and they had to make up a whole bunch of new set of rules and then how they learned to live, that's how the world happened. The rules changed. What happens to lending companies and a person has a short string? Maybe they're not, given the loans and that type of thing. You're discriminated against because of your short string. What if you have a short string and you decide, well, it just doesn't matter anymore, I'm just going to do what I want, and you start just wreaking havoc on society. So there's a lot of social issues going on in this book, and I found it was really interesting. So that was The Measure, and I enjoyed that book. The next book I read was The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell. And let me tell you, this book was a lot of fun. Let's turn this over. I'm going to plop this right up here, just like so. So The Golden Spoon is kind of the Great British Baking Show meets Clue meets Knives Out. So super fun, right? It's a cozy mystery. I had that as an ebook. I actually borrowed this from my library app, which I find is not Libby. It is some iCloud library because I'm in the Midwest, so we have to be different. But I'm going to put this down here. And it's a cozy mystery. It was 288 pages, so it was a really quick read, but I really, really loved it. So this book follows Betsy Martin, who is the head of this entire Golden Spoon show, this show they put, just like the Great British Baking Show. So if you ever watch that and you see the tent and then you see this giant estate manor, that's exactly the setting of this book. There's a tent and there's Grafton Manor, which is the estate manor. And Betsy Martin lives in the manor and she runs this show mainly to try to make money to do the upkeep on this huge manor and estate. Then there also comes in this man, Archie Morris, who the executives of the show bring him in because they think Betsy Martin is losing her touch. She's, not as exciting as she once was. And so they bring him in to co-host it with her. She's not very happy about this. And he's just this flashy Hollywood guy who did shows like, say, Chopped. So if you're into all the baking and the cooking shows. So he would have been a person who was on like Chopped. So she doesn't like his way because the Great British Baking Show is just nice and it's cozy and it's fun. And if you ever watch it, that's what it is. And that's exactly what it is on this thing. So they're not too happy about that. Plus there's 6 contestants, all a wide variety of people coming in for this bake-off. So it's the Great British Baking Show meets Clue meets Knives Out. So of course, we have things happen in here. It's about Grafton Manor. It looms over the baking tent, and there's secrets inside. Many secrets inside this manor. There's hidden doors. There's stairways behind walls. There's all kinds of fun stuff like that. Yummy baking is in this book. So lots of yummy baking. So if you like to read about baking, that's going on in this book. There's sabotage because, of course, it's like a reality show. It's a Clue, so there's sabotage. There's secrets. There's a little romance going on, just a little bit, but a little romance. And a murder. Now, telling you it's a murder is not going to spoil anything because, there's, look at the cover of the book. You can kind of see there's going to be a murder. Plus, the very beginning of the book, it shares the murder. You just don't know who it is. And then you read the whole book just to find out who got murdered and how and who did it and all those good things and who's sabotaging the show and who are all these fun people and all of the good things. So I really loved this book. It was cozy. It was a cozy mystery. I kind of put it in quotes because of the murder, but it's not really that graphic. It just, I don't know, I felt at the time, but I really, really loved this book. It was kind of a slow, it's like a Great British Baking Show nicety, right? It's kind of slow roll book, but I was very interested in it. So we have that book. The last book I read was Experimental Magic by Iris Beaglehood. Beaglehole. I think I say that every time because it's the Myrtle Wood Mysteries, and it is about magic and witchery, and there's vampires, and it's a small town, and it's just kind of fun. There's lots of other magical characters too. We have shapeshifters. We come to find out in this story that there's fairies and all kinds of good things going on in this town. Now the vampires, when I say that, it's not like a big vampire book like you think of. They don't want to be called out as vampires. They just want to live their life. So that's where we're at in this book. So this follows Rosemary and Athena. Rosemary, and they're a mom and daughter. So Rosemary's the mom. And it's very much a Gilmore Girls vibe going on. So we've got that small town. We have that banter between Rosemary and Athena, just like you would find in Lorelai and Rory, and it's just kind of fun. So it's mother and daughter leaning into their new lives in Myrtlewood. So this is the second book. So the first book was them coming to this place and coming to, you know, where they're going to live in this, again, another manor, and finding out that they are magical. Well, Rosemary's magical. Athena's not quite so sure, but we come to find some stuff out this time. So a child disappears, and Athena searches for her heritage, and whatever happened to Dane, Athena's dad. So we learn about Dane in book 1, but Athena and Rosemary, they always forget about him. They always forget about him. He's an estranged dad. He has kind of helped out periodically, but he's never really been in the picture, so they don't have a really good view of him, but they always kind of forget about him. But he disappeared in the first book. So this starts being brought up again. Whatever happened to Dane? Every now and then we keep hearing about that. So that's what this book is about. It's about really, again, them leaning into their magic and this small town and finding their footing, and Athena trying to figure out what her heritage is. And she comes to find out, or thinks that she could be fae or part fairy. And so we learn a little bit about the fairy realm and a trip beyond the veil to do all this. And there's a spring equinox. So it's really fun. There's 9 books in this series right now, and each one follows a different time and festival. So I just started reading them, and I'm going to go look and see when it hits, because it does hit into October at some point and Halloween, and I want to try to maybe work it through next year so that I'm reading that during, you know, spooky season. I think that could be fun. So again, this is a cozy mystery. I read this one on ebook, but I want to get the regular book because I did get the first one, and I want to start collecting them because they're really cool. And I really enjoyed this book too. Okay, let me put this back in the journal, and then we'll go ahead and get to the trackers. Okay, so this is coming along nicely, So here's my tracker section. And I've been filling some of this out as the month went so that, you know, we could get on with it. I have to fill this out here. So I didn't fill out the last book. That's where we're at. And I read it as an ebook, so I'm going to color it green. So we're going to do this right here. And book 19, green. Go us. And we're going to go ahead and do, oh, this is the monthly stats. So I read 3 books. Let me just grab a pen here. I'm going to use the thicker micron, the 08. I read 3 books, and let me check the number of pages. Okay, it comes out to be, what? Oh, 943. You know, you read the number and then you completely forget. There we go, 943 pages. And here is my bookshelf. I love this bookshelf. This is where I put these little 1.5-inch books. I just like to see them all lined up here. So I'm going to go ahead and peel these off and place them down. I'm just kind of going in order here. I'm putting 1 book on each shelf because I know I have room to do that. If you were reading a lot more books, you could either add a page here, or you could put the books closer together for sure. You could put more on, or even make the books smaller too. And then we have the golden spoon right here. And then last but certainly not least, we have experimental magic. So it's just fun seeing all the book covers together and seeing what I read this year, and some of my favorites that point out. I loved Hester. Oh, I absolutely love the first book I read, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I'm sorry. Love that book. And I also really loved Hester and the women. I'm a huge Kristen Hanna fan for sure, but I've been having a lot of fun reading these books. Yes, okay. So this is another page that I really like. This is my reading genres. I've been getting a lot of interesting information from here just because I can see that I've read a lot of romance, a lot of historical fiction, and I didn't write any of these books in, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to use this regular pen here to do that, and let's see where I want to put these books. Okay, so here's what I decided to do. I'm putting, well, The Golden Spoon is a cozy mystery. It's definitely a mystery. And I put experimental magic into the cozy mystery because it's more mystery. I mean, it is magical, but it's not really magical real. I mean, there's a lot going on. We're going to put it over here. We're going to put it over here because I'm hoping I'm going to have some to go up here anyway. And I put the measure under fantasy for 2 reasons. I don't have a science fiction situation going on here. I mean, I could have put it under fiction, but I'm not going to really be reading a lot of fantasy, most likely. It's not a genre I generally pick up, even though a lot of this is fantasy-like. But we're going to put the measure there, and we'll just know. We'll just know. But this is a fun page, and I will continue that. This is my Seriously Need to Read. I have 2 more books. I have The Wishing Game and Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. I'm not sure if we're going to get to that. My DNF Graveyard, so much fun. It's not you, it's me. Loving that. And that is it for that section. Okay. So now we're going to go into my monthly section and fill out my monthly deal. I love looking back at this and using all the kits. I made a Dutch Adore situation so that you can keep seeing that. So I'm going to take this off and we're going to fill this out. So I'm going to use this September kit from my Etsy shop. I have been enjoying using these. September is so pretty too. But I'm going to put this here up the top. It really helps decorate a page right off the bat. So we're just going to line this right up at the top here. And then I'm going to take this strip and line it up at the bottom. Just like so. Look how nice that looks. Such pretty September colors, right? And then I'm using these 2 decorative boxes to write in the books that I read and how many pages that I read. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it here. That looks pretty good. And let's see, let's write in the word books over here and the word pages over here. And we'll write that back in here. Let me check on what they were again. Okay, 3 books and 943 pages. Perfection. Okay, so this is where I put in these 2-inch covers to show the books that I read for September. But I do make one book larger because that's my favorite. And which one of these 3 do you think was my favorite? Can you figure it out? Well, I'll show you. It was The Golden Spoon. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love the Great British Baking Show so much. And this book was just a lot of fun. So let's see how I want to do this. Let's do it like that, because I also want to write a quote. So let's put this one down first. Okay, we're just going to kind of lay this right like so. And then we'll put this one kind of on top of it. And we'll put this one like so. The yellow in this book is really pretty. Look at that. And then we'll put this big book over here. So yeah, the Great British Baking Show is super fun. So I really loved this book. And the new season of Great British Baking Show just started. And it comes out on Fridays. Rod and I watched it last Friday, and every day we keep looking for a new episode because we keep thinking it's been like over a week, but it's only been like a day or so. But now, today, or that I'm filming this on Friday, because you'll see this tomorrow, Saturday, so a new one. So there'll be 2 episodes, so you should check it out. Let me write down a quote. Okay, I'm just going to use this little felt tip. I think it's like a 0.38, and we're going to go ahead and write a quote from this book. Okay, so the quote from this book is, "The best way to find value in yourself is by being good to someone else. There you find your purpose." And that is the sweetest thing I have ever tasted. I loved that because that's so, so true. This book too had found family vibes. I don't want to talk about the people too much though, because it'll give some things away. But all the contestants are super, super fun. Okay, so here is my reading journal, and I am loving, loving, loving this. This has been so much fun to work on. I am currently reading a book right now because we are in spooky season. We're in October, and I'm reading The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. And this is about a magical person, and she puts a hex on somebody who dumped her or went away from her. I don't know. They kind of broke up. And her girlfriend in one alcoholic stupor one night put a hex on him. 9 years later, he returns, and mayhem has happened. So I'm enjoying this because I believe this is also happening, and I just started this book actually. It's also happening kind of around Halloween. So that's a lot of fun. Let me share another book I have here. Hold on. I really want to read all the atmospheric Halloweenish books this month, and Rod got me this book. It's Hocus Pocus, which, you know, I love watching Hocus Pocus, but it's an illustrated version. Look at this. It's one of these big books too. I really love reading these large illustrated books. Let's see if I can find, oh, here. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at the illustrations. Isn't that fun? And then here's how the words are. It's on this like old parchment type paper. So this is a really fun book. So I'll probably be reading this book this month as well because I'd like to get the spooky vibes, all the atmospheric things. Let me know down below. What are you reading? What are you currently reading? Have you read any of these books? I would be interested in hearing about that too. Before I go, I want to mention again, go check out Tracie's video over at Midwest Craft Chat. I can't wait to see what she's up to, what she's been reading, what she's doing in her reading journal. I'm getting a lot of ideas from her, and I always love watching her videos. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!